about time, man. I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh air. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women. Okay, not no strawberry harlots on this side. I'm ready to have children, man. You can vibe with. Okay, be around brothers. Be around the Lord Himself. Okay, I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right, I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly. Okay, I'm ready to eat real food. Okay, I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shai in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
Isaiah 14. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the stranger shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. And it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve.
The Lord said that on the Heavenly Father's right hand there are pleasures evermore. And it says that I have not seen, neither ear heard the things which the Lord hath prepared for them that wait for Him. You know, there's a whole another world of greatness that awaits us when the kingdom of heaven is established. It's not seen in this society. In this society, we only see carnal things that reason offers in this society. But when the kingdom is established, the Lord is going to open us up to a whole nother world, you know, of pleasure, of knowledge, of wisdom, understanding. You know, it can't even be put into words, you know, because our imagination only goes but so far.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither hath entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love Him. But God hath revealed them unto us by His Spirit.
All right. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers, and peace and blessing, salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And what I want to get into, this morning is dealing with the Hellenistic, Israelites, and one reason, why there's such a huge, confusion, dealing with the New Testament and whom salvation is for, is because, you have this false narrative as if when the Apostle Paul, is speaking about the Greeks, that he's opening up salvation to all nations, and that's just not the case. And to really understand, the context of what Apostle Paul was saying, you have to understand, the history leading up to the time of the apostles, the time of Acts, the time of the New Testament, and these epistles being sent out to these different, Greek, ancient Greek city-states where Jake dwelt, where Israelites dwelt. All right. So I want to start here because this is one of the main scriptures, that a Christian will use, to try to solidify the salvation is for all nations. Now, when you go to Galatians chapter 3, verse 28, it said there is neither Jew nor Greek, And immediately when they hear that word Greek, they think that's the doorway for all heathens. That's not the case, all right? It said there's neither bond nor free, because you had Israelites that was, a bondman, in other Israelites' households that were Hellenized, okay? And they was bondmen, to actual heathen, okay? But through Yahweh Shai, okay, they had a particular liberty, through their belief. Now it says, there is neither male nor female, for you are all one in Yahweh Shai of Mashiach. Now, when you go to this term Greek, okay, now the definition is off in the blue letter, because they change particular things, after certain things are brought out. But when you go into that word Greek, okay, all right, that Greek word is what?
Strong's G 1672, Hellene.
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 All right, now let's go from there and let's get this definition. So now we got to go back in history once we get this definition. Okay, so you get that word Hellenistic, okay, which is that Greek word Hellene. All right, now relating to Greek history, language, and culture from the death of Alexander the Great to the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by Octavian in 31 BC. So you had Alexander, okay, he conquered, they going into what, 333 down to 20, 321 BC in his death, okay? So pretty much you have 300 years of Greek culture being spread in a particular region of the earth, and it's going to go into it, okay? And it says, during this period, Greek culture flourished, spread through the Mediterranean, which is where you had, Rome, Italy, those Greek city-states, Cyprus, okay? A lot of those Greek city-states that are mentioned in the book of Acts, which we'll get a couple of them, okay? It says spreading through the Mediterranean and into the Near East, okay? Going into what? Asia, Turkey, okay? And centering in Alexander in Egypt, okay? Pergamon in Turkey, okay? So when you understand Hellenistic, there was a culture. It wasn't, the Greeks that was in power were Edomites, okay? But they pushed a culture throughout their whole region, and they Hellenized a lot of the people that they conquered, okay? So when it says Greek in that context of Galatians 3 and 28, it's speaking about a culture, not a nationality, man, okay? Now let's get to the history to understand what was going on, okay, in that time. Now, Hellenistic told us what? When we went to that definition, it was a period from Alexander and his conquering, okay, mainly of the Persian Empire, okay, and other empires as well, okay, the Mediterranean and Egypt, all right, and he Greek culture flourished, okay, so let's go into it and see. Here it is, you learn about all these characters in school, especially you go, even when you go to college, you go into history, you learn about all these characters. But when we bring these things out concerning the Israelites, everyone tries to make it seem as if it's null and void, okay? But now, let's go to 1 Maccabees 1 and 1. It says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. So he's conquering these different empires and cultures in the earth, and what is he doing? He's influencing the earth, okay, in the ways of the Greeks, man, Hellenized, okay, and he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die, wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable, who had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. All right, and it goes into those four generals, which trickled down to Cassandra, Lysimachus, okay? You had the Ptolemies, and you had the Seleucids, Okay, now when Alexander was living, he pretty much didn't tamper, with Jake. He allowed Jake to pretty much have some type of autonomy, some type of sovereignty within, his empire, and our people were still keeping away. But through Seleucid Empire, you had Antiochus Epiphanes that enforced Hellenization on Jake. And see, that's an important key of history that we have to understand. Okay, so when you keep reading, it says, and we'll get into it. All right, first Mac and Jake, you had Jake that was, in covenant with them. All right, that was in covenant with Antiochus to force and influence Jake. All right, in Greek culture. Now, when you go to First Maccabees 1, when you finish reading, it says, First Maccabees 1:8, it says, and his servants bear rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them. Okay, it's generations of Hellenization, man. Okay, many years and evils were multiplied in the earth. Okay, and there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been a hostage at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year, all right, of the kingdoms of the Greeks, all right. And in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have much sorrow. So Jake wanted to be in league, okay, with the Greeks to receive the perks, okay, of the Greek Empire, man. Okay, and let's jump because this is those wicked men. All right, let's get specific. Those wicked men, they had made a league, okay, with the Greeks. Now, this is Second Maccabees 4:1. It says, this Simon now, of whom we spake afore, having been a betrayer of the money and of his country, slandered Onias. Now Onias was a righteous high priest of the time. Okay, but he had a wicked brother named Jason, which we're going to get into, as if this is during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes' rulership. Okay, because he ruled over the Mediterranean and Syria area, okay, of the empire. All right, and then he would go back and forth with Ptolemy over Egypt. And it says, thus was he bold to call him a traitor, that have deserved well of the city, and tendered his own nation, and was zealous of the laws. But when their hatred went so far that by one of Simon's factions murders was committed, Onias, seeing the danger of this contention, and that Apollonius, as being the governor of Seleucia, and remember Seleucia, we're gonna remember that, and Phoenice, Seleucia and Phoenice, okay, this is an Edomite who was a governor of Seleucia and Phoenice, did rage and increase Simon's malice. He went to the king not to be accuser of his brother, because Onias is trying to bring peace, all right, amongst, Judea at the time, okay. And it says he went to the king not to be an accuser of his countrymen, but seeking the good of all, both public and private. For he saw that it was impossible, because Simon was being a nigger, okay, who was dead set on bringing Hellenization, okay, to Jake. But Onias, being the high priest, the leader of the people at that time, he wasn't for it. Okay, so you had wicked niggas that was really against Ananias, man. That was just being the damn demon, causing uproars, okay, causing, leading rebellions, and, slandering Ananias, and, trying to get the Greeks to come in and slay, Ananias, and, try to rob the temple of the money. Jake was just being the damn demon, man. Okay? But the Greeks was cool with Ananias, because Ananias kept peace within their realm, So, reading on, it says, for he saw that it was impossible that the state should continue quiet, and Simon leave his father, unless the king did look thereunto. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes, see, now you had Seleucus died, and then you had Antiochus, Epiphany's coming to power. So now things are finna change. Okay? When Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason the brother Ananias labored underhanded to be high priest, promises unto the king by intercession 360 talents of silver and another revenue 80 talents. So it was so bad back then that they didn't have to pay Jake to sell out. Jake was paying to sell out, man. Jake was paying the Greeks, okay? Because he wanted that position of high priest because it came with perks, okay? He wanted the perks that came with that position, okay? And it says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up a place for exercise and for the training of the youth in the fashions of the heathen. And the youth was speaking of Israelites, okay? So now we're seeing the beginning of, a generation of Israelites becoming Hellenized, man. Okay, becoming Greeks by culture. Okay, it says, and to write them, okay, it says, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians. Okay, he wanted Jake to start calling themselves after Edomite, man. Just like today, you call yourself an African American, those are two Edomites. Okay, Leo Scipio Africanus, which was a Roman general during the Punic Wars between Rome and Carthage. Okay, that's where you get that famous Carthage, general Hannibal, man. Okay, then you have Amerigo Vespucci, which was an Italian map maker, and he was noted as one of the first map makers to put America on the map. So when you call yourself African American, it's no different than calling yourself an Antiochian, man. You're calling yourself, okay, after what, man? Edomite. Okay, the same thing. It's no different from an Israelite, okay, calling himself an African American today, man, or an American, man. Okay. Verse 11, it says, and the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Epolamus, who went, yep, ambassador to Rome for enmity and aid, he took away and putting down the governments which was according to the law. He brought up a new custom against the law, for he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat. Now such as was the height of Greek fashions, all right, an increase of the heathenism, all right, heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest. Okay, so read verse 15, said, not sitting by the honors of their fathers, so leaving the way of our forefathers, that's the law, the standard, okay, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all, man. Now this is happening, close to 200 years, okay, a little more, before you have the ministry of the apostles, man. Okay, so when you go down, what was Antiochus doing? You see what Jake was doing. They was in league with Antiochus, okay, to push Hellenization on our people, to push the ways of the heathen Greek culture on our people, okay, because this is before the Maccabean revolt, okay. See, Hellenization had got so bad that when Jake slew that pig on the altar, Mattathias, okay, which was the father of Judas, he killed that nigga and those Greek, okay, those Edomite guards, that came to oversee, that sacrifice of a pig on the altar, man. Okay, and Mattathias killed that nigga. That's what started the Maccabean revolt. Okay, because Jake had just got so wicked and so Hellenized, man. Okay, so you go back to First Maccabees 1, and we're gonna jump down. Okay, this is the First Maccabees 1 and 41. It says, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people. All right, it sound familiar to the day, huh? Okay. It says, and everyone should leave his laws So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. And what was being agreed upon, man? Let's go back to the definition of Hellenistic. Okay, Hellenistic, relating to Greek history, language, and culture from the death of Alexander the Great to the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by Octavian. Octavian is Augustus. Okay, and you go into the history, that's Augustus Caesar. You know, another one of his names was Octavian. Okay, it says during this period, and who, matter of fact, real quick, um, who, let me see, who was born, all right, to any brother that's on, all right, Halak, I'm putting you on the spot, all right, to you brothers that's listening, who was born during the reign of Augustus Caesar? What important Israelite was born during the reign of Augustus Caesar? Real quick pop quiz question for you brothers, all right? So I finished reading this. It says Hellenistic, relating to Greek history, language, and culture from the death of Alexander the Great to the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony by Octavian in 31 BC. During this period, Greek culture flourished, spreading through the Mediterranean and into the Near East, okay? And into the Near East and Asia, and centering on Alexander in Egypt and Pergamon in Turkey. So all those heathens became Hellenized, started to become Hellenized, man. Okay. All right. I see you. Yep. Yahweh Shai. Okay. Yep. Yep. Like the water, brothers. Just making sure. Okay. All right. Now, this is First Maccabees 1:41 said, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath. So they becoming Hellenized. For the king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land, Greek culture, okay? Which was all into what, man? You had, orgies and, like homosexuality. And you had, worshiping of idols, okay? Worshiping, of athletes. Same thing now. Worshiping of the woman. You had all that was heavy in the Greek culture, man. Okay, swine was a staple food of the Greeks. Okay, and it says, for the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days and pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars of groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine flesh and unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they might forget the law and change all ordinances. And whosoever should not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he should die. This happened. This really happened. Okay? Under the threat of imminent death, Jake was being forced, okay, to be Greeks, man. You see, and this is the first generation of it, and leads all the way into the New Testament, man. Okay? And we're going to get it. Now let's get one more account of this, and then we're going to jump to the time of the New Testament, man. Okay? And if you don't understand this, you don't have a clue of what's going on in the New Testament, man, at the time of Yahweh Shai, and then after Yahweh Shai, at the time of the apostles. Okay. Now, this is Second Maccabees 6:2. And this is still under Antiochus Epiphanes. It says, not long after this, the king sent an old man of Athens to compel the Jews to depart from the laws of their fathers and not to live after the laws of the Most High, and to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem and call it the temple of Jupiter Olympius, and that in garrison of the Jupiter, the defender of strangers. And that's why you have, when you go to the Jesus Christ character, he's like the defender of stranger. He comes in that energy, as if he's here for the actual heathen, like he's here to defend the heathen and save the heathen. Okay. It says and that in garrison of Jupiter, the defenders of strangers, as they did desire, that dwelt in the place. The coming in of the mischief was sore and grievous to the people, for the temple was filled with the riot and reveling of the Gentiles who dallied with harlots, okay, and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places, and besides this, brought in things that were not lawful. The altar also was filled with profane things which the law forbiddeth. Neither was it lawful for men to keep Sabbath days or ancient feasts, okay, or ancient fasts, or to profess himself at all to be a Jew, okay. You could be put to death just for just professing that you was an Israelite, man. Okay? So what did Jake start calling themselves, man? All right, but like I say, this led up to the Maccabean revolt. Okay? You had our righteous forefathers said, the hell with it, man. We finna go to war behind this, man. You know? And that's where you get the Hasmonean dynasty, which that's another, you brothers want to look that, history up. Okay? The Hasmonean dynasty. All right. So let's go from there. So all that happened, you got all this history between the Greeks and the Israelites, where then Christians open up the Bible at Matthew, and now salvation is for the Greeks. The actual Greeks, man. No, man. Okay, you don't know what's going on. Now, let's go here. I just want to type this word real quick. Greek. Let's type in the word Greek. Okay, and when you get to Greek, all right, you get the New Testament. So let's go here. Now you go to Mark 7:26. It said the woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by nation, and she brought him, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter, and that him is Yahushua. And we know that account, Yahushua cast the devil out, of her daughter, because she was an Israelite. Remember, it said this woman was a Greek. Remember, this is speaking of a culture, not a nationality. So by culture, she was a Greek. Okay? But how do we know that she was an Israelite? She had faith in Yahushua. Okay? And then it said she was what? A Syro-Phoenician by nation. Now, when you go back here, remember, a part of the Greeks' territory, when you go to 2 Maccabees 4, okay, a part of the Greeks' territory, 2 Maccabees 4:4, Onias, seeing the danger of this contention, and that Apollonius, which was a Greek governor, as being, okay, the governor of Syria and Phoenice. Okay? So this woman is nothing but a resident, an Israelite that was residing, okay, in an area that was heavily influenced by Greek culture. Okay? Syria and Phoenice. So when you go here to Mark 7:26, the woman was a Greek of Syro-Phoenicia by nation. Okay? And she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her. Now, matter of fact, let's read this account to get reaction, Yahushua reaction. It says, but Yahushua said unto her, let the children first be filled, and he was speaking to those of the circumcision that knew that they was Israelites. Okay, for it's not meet to take the children's bread and cast it unto dogs, because they look at our people that was living in that fashion as heathens, man. Okay, they knew they was Israelite, but they looked at them as heathen because they were so off with their culture, man. And she answered and said unto him, Yes, Lord, yet the dogs under the table eat of the children's crumbs. And he said unto her, For this saying go thy way, the devil is gone out of thy daughter. Okay, so what did she display? Faith. That you know that there was an Israelite to have faith in Yahweh, man. Okay, now let's go back. And we see why these letters was written like this. Now, you read Luke 23 and 38. Now, this was written on the cross, okay, of that Yahweh was crucified on. It says, and a subscription also was written over him in letters of Greek, okay, and Latin and Hebrew. This is the King of the Jews. Now, why was it written in Greek? Because Greek culture was still heavy during the time of the Romans. The Romans just absorbed, okay, Greek into his empire. You still had that Greek influence, okay, in what? In Rome. Let's prove it. Now, when you go to Acts, okay, because you got to think, when you go to, let's say you go to the automatic bank teller today, okay, you go to the ATM. Now, the ATM going to have two languages on there. Okay, it's gonna be English and Spanish. Why is that? Because those are the two languages, all right, that dominate, America, the culture in America. Okay, so just back then they had it written in Latin, which was the language of the Romans, which they was empowered in. Then you had Greeks, okay, the Greek, which was the language of the Greeks, which heavily influenced that culture, that region of the earth. Okay, and you had it written in Hebrew because you had Jake, okay, that stayed faithful to the way, due to what? That Maccabean revolt. Okay, so what this represents, when you see, all right, the subscription that was written in Greek, Latin, and Hebrew, that represented all the things that was going on at that time, man. Okay, the Hellenization period, okay, which was still influential. The Latin, which was the empire that was in power then, the Romans. Then you had the Hebrew, which was still relevant because you had our forefathers that fought, to keep the way. Okay, you see, it had nothing to do with salvation for everyone. All right, now let's go here to the book of Acts 21 and 37. Okay, now this was when Paul, was pretty much taken into custody by the Romans because Jake was crying and whining, all right, all right, about the Apostle Paul preaching unto, these Hellenized, all right, these Hellenized Israelites, man, okay, and it says, now this is the Apostle Paul, all right, in Acts 21, and it says, and Paul was to be led into the council, and he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto them? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Okay, so the Apostle Paul is speaking Greek, to particular chief of the captain, but then he was able to speak Hebrew to Jake. All right, it says, Art thou not that Egyptian? Showing you that Apostle Paul was dark skinned, which before these days made us an uproar and led us out into the wilderness, 4,000 men that were murderers, because you had Jake with these different carnal rebellions. All right, it said, but Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people. So the Apostle Paul was a Jew, was an Israelite of the tribe of Benjamin, which he tells you, but he was in Tarsus, okay, a city in Cilicia. So how is it so far-fetched that he's writing to other Israelites that are in these different regions, okay, that have been Hellenized, man? How is it so far-fetched when Paul himself, okay, is from Cilicia, man? Come on, man. It says, I beseech thee, all right, thee suffer me to speak unto the people. And when he had been given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue. Okay, so you still have what? Hebrew culture that was heavy, amongst our people in Judea. But you had Greek, the Hellenization, influence amongst our people. And then you had the current rulers, which were the Romans, which spoke in Latin, man. Okay? When you understand the history, now these things make sense why they was written, how they was written. Now, when you go into here, this Acts 16:1, it said, then came he to Debris and Lystra, okay, and beheld a certain disciple was there named Timotheus. Okay, that's where you get the books of Timothy from. Okay, the son of a certain woman, all right, which was a Jewess, all right, the Israelite woman, and believed, but his father, okay, was a Greek. All right, was you talking about an Edomite with a toga? Okay, you were talking about Jake that was Hellenized, man. Okay, Apostle Paul then set up an Edomite, okay, as a teacher in the church, man. You see? And you keep reading. All right, I'm going to jump to verse 3. It says, I go to the account, read verse 2. All right, this is Acts 16:2. It says, which was well reported by the brethren that were at Lystra and Iconium. And these are nothing but ancient Greek city-states, man, that was absorbed into the Roman Empire. You go to Lystra, okay? And this is a place, in Asia Minor, okay? Remember, Hellenization spread into Asia, okay, and Turkey, man, okay? Then you go, let's see, Iconia. Okay, it's another place, all right, a famous city of Asia Minor, which is called the capital of Lysonica, okay? All these places that was heavily influenced by Hellenization, man. Greek culture. Acts 16:3 says, him will Paul have to go forth with him and took and circumcised him. Okay, why was Timothy not circumcised, man? Because he grew up in Greek culture, man. Remember, it was a decree you'll be put to death for circumcising your son. The son that will be circumcised and the mother will be put to death, man. Okay? This is why you have these Israelites that's here uncircumcised, man. This is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th generation of our people being Hellenized, man. Okay? It says, and Timothy was circumcised because he was going to be a teacher, man. So to cut down, all that unnecessary riffraff he was going to have to go through, the Apostle Paul had him circumcised, man. Okay? It said, him will Paul have to go forth with him and took and circumcised him because of the Jews which were in those quarters, for they knew all that his father was a Greek. Okay? So to keep down the riffraff, because they knew that his father, was a Hellenized nigga. Okay? Jake that was into Greek culture. And Timothy was going to be on the forefront because the Spirit was on him to teach. Apostle Paul, he made that decision in the Spirit to circumcise him, man. Okay? But the fact, why was he uncircumcised, man? Okay? Because of that culture. Okay? Let's go back. So when you go to Romans, okay, 1:16 says, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Mashiach, for it's the power of the Most High unto salvation to everyone that believeth, to the Jew first, okay, the circumcision, and also to the Greek, because it was established amongst the circumcision in Judea, but then it went out, okay, to those Hellenized Israelites. Okay, Judea had to be built up first. Okay? This is Romans 10:2. It says, "For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek." Why does it keep referring to Greek? Why does it keep referring to the word Hellen? "For the same Lord over all, Yahushua, is rich unto all that call upon him." Because Yahushua came, okay, that we will have a way back through faith. We are Hellenized, okay, Israelites. We was Hellenized Israelites before we came to the ministry, man. We live by Greek culture, the Greek diet, these wicked high holy days, man. Okay, I mean these wicked holidays, Salaki. Okay, we was into Greek culture, man. You see, fraternities and all, we were through. Okay, read this Colossians 3:11 says, "Where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Yahushua is all and in all, man. And through Yahushua, we've been brought back to the standard of our forefathers, man. Okay, we was lost, but through Yahushua, that shepherd, we was sought out, okay, by his spirit through the teaching of the prophets, through the teaching of the men of the Lord, starting with our apostles and elders, their elders, before them. Okay, the spirit of Yahushua has did what, man? It's gathering his people, no matter what culture and background we was brought up in. Through Yahushua, we're being brought back, man. Okay, let's get that, and we can end it there. Yep, as the brother put. So this is because when Yahushua was born, as the brother put up, Luke 2:1. This is the brother Anah. All right, Luke 2:1, it says, "And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed." And this was during the birth of Yahushua. So Yahushua came on the scene in the post-Hellenization era, man. Okay. So let's get this. Ephesians 2 and Ephesians 2:11. It says, "Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh through culture." Jake was a Gentile, was a damn Greek, a heathen by culture in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called the circumcision. Though Jake's a new there Israelite in the flesh made by hands. That at that time, all right, because they were circumcised, okay, physically, Jake's in Judea, you know. But see how Shai came to circumcise the mind, okay? Because you had Jake's of the circumcision, they were physically circumcised, but they wasn't right. Okay, Yahushua came to circumcise the mind. Okay. Verse 12 said that at that time you were without Hamashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, the promises, it's gonna say, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. And the promises was made to who? The forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that lineage. Okay? So you have to be of that lineage, okay, to be brought back into those promises made to those men. The heathens never received that promise, man. Okay, so how can they be brought back into a promise that was never given unto them? That promise was to a particular lineage. Let's get it real quick in Psalms 105. Okay. Psalms 105. "O ye seed," okay, which means what? You have to come from this actual sperm of Abraham. "O you seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Lord our power, his judgments are in all the earth. He have remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations." So he remembered, okay, his covenant forever. His covenant with who? Okay. "Which covenant he made with Abraham, and unto," it says, "and an oath," all right, his oath unto Isaac, is following a particular lineage, "and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. He confirmed the same unto Jacob for the law. So let's get this word confirmed. In the Hebrew is amad. Okay, to stand, to remain. Their promise is going to remain. Okay, to cause, to stand firm, to maintain, to appoint, to ordain, to establish. Okay, that promise is going to remain and always be established amongst their lineage, man. That's why when you go to Leviticus, it's always set up. That's why Yahweh known as the lamb slain before the foundation of the earth, because it was already understood that our people would be so far gone that Yahweh will have to be a sacrifice to bring our people back, man. Now this is Leviticus 26:40. It says, if they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquity of their fathers, which with their trespass, which they trespass against me, and that all they have walked contrary unto me. And that's what we've done. Our lifestyle is a token, is a sign within itself that our forefathers was off. Our mothers, our grandfathers, and uncles, their, great grandfather, it was off. We're not doing what they was doing. We're walking, all right, we're serving Yahweh Shema Shai, truth and spirit. Okay, that's us confessing that what they was doing was wrong, man, through our actions, man, through repentance. Okay? And that I also have walked contrary unto them, and we understand why the Most High put our people through what he put them through, man, because we were separated from him through obedience, man, and we provoked him to anger. Okay? But now the Lord has had favor on us and given us a spirit to hear and understand, man, and do right, man. Begin to do right. Okay? And it says, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised hearts be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant. Okay, because remember it says what? If their uncircumcised hearts be humbled. Okay, the uncircumcised hearts. So it was already set up that our people, you was going to have Israelites that was physically uncircumcised, but through faith in Yahweh, their hearts was going to become circumcised, man. That mindset. You see? That's why Yahweh, like we were going to earlier about our people shall be righteous. Well, that's why Yahweh hung everything on these two laws. To love the Most High with all thy heart, okay, and treat thy brothers thyself. You see that, and under those two commandments, you can hang all the laws, because the laws are rooted in love, and that's why you go into the charity that was amongst the churches when you read the epistles, okay, because the spirit of Yahweh was on those Israelite foreigners just like it's on us, man, and there's a particular way, okay, that the spirit, conducts itself, man. Okay, that's the uncircumcision of the heart, of the mind. Okay, going back, it said, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and my covenant with Isaac, and my covenant with Abraham. Will I remember the land? It said, will I remember, and I will remember the land. So when you go to Galatians 3:26, 3:28, and we'll start it like we ended it, the same chapter. Now we can get an understanding, because you gotta read the next verse. So this Galatians 3:28. There is neither Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free, there is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. And if you be Yahweh Shai's, then are ye Abraham's seed. Okay, it's an actual seed. So the fact that you had Israelites that was Hellenized, that was a product of Greek culture, okay, dominating that region of the earth. Okay, they was able to come out of Greek culture and believe on Yahweh. That was a token that they were the physical seed of Abraham. Okay, and through that, there's a promise that was made to that physical seed, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, and heirs and heirs according to the promise. The promise was made to who? You can't get around. You can't just say the Greeks and throw everybody in there. No, that was a promise made to a particular lineage, man. Okay? So, that's the point. I just wanted to bring that out this morning. Lord will, you brothers and you few sisters were edified. Um, you know, you got to understand these things. I know we go over these things a lot, but there's always somebody, new, probably watching. So, Lord will, you brothers, and you few sisters were edified. Till the next time I say Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba Babal, DTA soon.